let me refer to a tweet that you sent out soon after the Indian High Commissioner to UK Ambassador Doraiswamy's car was blocked by the K separatists. You sent out that tweet, and let me quote that tweet verbatim. Preventing anyone from entering the Gurudwara Sahib goes against the fundamental tenets of Sikhism and the teachings of our gurus. If we remain silent, these radicals may also prevent mainstream Sikhs from attending the Gurudwara one day. The choice is yours. Please speak up. And that's why I want to ask you, with revival of radical voices from the Sikh community, how crucial is it for real secular Sikhs to galvanize against the Khalistani extremities?
Yeah, very important, Akansha ji. Thank you very much. Especially for the 90, I would say like a 95 or 98%, the Sikh community or the Punjabi community, or we call it mainstream, not only moderate, mainstream Sikh community. I think they will also face the same kind of backlash if these radicals are not controlled or managed. Because these people, less than 2% of the population, these so-called radical, are also so-called Khalistani, self-styled Khalistani, they are really, their activity is very, very shameful, not only against India, but even their activity is hurting the mainstream Sikh community, and so we will be paying the price. So that's why when I tweeted it, and my message was to the mainstream Punjabi and the Sikh community to speak up. If we don't speak up now, and nobody else is going to speak for us, and so in one day they will not even let the people like us to enter in the Gurdwara. So that's why it's just very concerned. And I condemn it, and we condemn it really, really hard, actually. So, like, because their activity is very shameful. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is Sikhi, and this is not the Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sikhi or Guru Gobind Singh is Sikhi. Anybody is most welcome to come to the Gurdwara, but these people are preventing, they're taking over one of the prominent Gurdwara around the world. And this is some of the Gurdwara is becoming the source of their hate, spreading the hate around the world. And they are using the Gurdwara, which is a very big concern to the Sikh community too.
Mr. Chahal, how do you assess Canada's own expectation of India to cooperate on Nijjar's investigation, that too sans evidence, when India itself has been frustrated with Canada's ambivalence to New Delhi's repeated complaints of Khalistani activity in Canada, and that also includes extradition of Goldie Brar and Arsh Dalla, which is still pending?
Definitely, I think it's a give and take actually to build the relationship, and so you have to not only like whatever they ask and for the cooperation, they should also seek the cooperation and they should provide the cooperation. And I think like even Mr. Nijjar, like a killer, should be there should be I think it should be the question should be to the local Canadian authority, law enforcement authority, and the CSIS, because the murder had happened inside their country, inside Surrey. If they for 3 months, if they cannot even figure out, at least so they are saying at least there was a 6 killer, 2 cars, and so many evidence they have at least. So what are they talking about until now? What they are waiting for at least? So they should arrest these people. They should face whatever the maximum punishment by the law at least. So they should make it public. And I think they should whatever the Mr. Trudeau's the statement. I think it is way before the time actually. So I think they should have think about this one before making these kind of statements, because end of the day actually, so this is going to affect even the inquiry of the Mr. Nijjar.
Mr. Chahal, it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you spoke about the internal failures of the Trudeau government and the RCMP, because there's been this huge gap between CSIS, the intelligence agency of Canada, and what the RCMP did, or the failure to provide security to Nijjar, which is why I'm going to ask you. Justin Trudeau is doing what he is for a community that could bring him back to power after being on shaky ground. Take the economy of Canada into consideration. But at what cost, when he or his public safety minister, Dominic LeBlanc, have no answers about the internal security lapses that led to Nijjar's killing?
Madam, I can take you even one step further down. Actually, so we have to take a look. There is a 3 referendum has already happened on the Canadian soil.
Yes.
They always talk about the 5I actually. So the referendum happened one of the 3 times in Canada, and also 1 time in UK, and also in Australia. So they are the partner of the Five Eyes, and they should know at least what these people's activity is and who's funding them, what they're doing, and this their violent activity, and they are spreading the hate. And they always claim that we are the peaceful organization. That's a nonsense actually, because they are not peaceful. They are displaying the AK-47. They are displaying they are putting the picture of all the Indian diplomat. Actually, they are making them the target.
True.
And so they are very violent people, and they can, if they have a license to even beat the people inside the Gurdwara. That's happened in California, actually. So we cannot say this organization is a US-based organization. They are doing the referendum in Canada 3 times. Actually, 4 times they will be doing again, actually, in the Canada. And the Canadian authority, and you can see Canadian authority, I would say Canadian government, and they understand, they have a hands in glove. If they can rent one of the community hall in Brampton over there on the Gore Road, that happened actually, so they know it. Now they were able to even rent a school. Imagine a school for the referendum. They were putting the AK-47. They are spreading the hateful propaganda over there, especially poisoning the kids' mind over there. So the people like us from the Sikh community, we have to raise the voice from across the world that, this is the nonsense. They need to stop. Now they moved to the Gurdwara. So now Gurdwara is becoming the source of the propaganda for them. So that's why our biggest concern is actually because this kind of a nonsense has to be taken out of the Gurdwara. Whatever they want to do, they're most welcome. They can go to the field. They can ask for any Khalistan anywhere in Canada, but it's not going to happen inside our Gurdwaras, especially the Sikh Gurdwara. And so we will take a stand on that.
It's also interesting to hear that you mentioned the Five Eye Alliance. Many here in India are raising questions about the West's selective intervention, because if Trudeau's accusation has made international headlines, why didn't the attacks on Indian consulates get the same kind of international attention? Why isn't the Five Eye Alliance as concerned about India's own security, a country that's a significant partner to them in the Indo-Pacific?
Definitely, I 100% agree. But at the same time, I'm reading in the media that it is the U.S. government, actually, so U.S. agency provide the information to the Canadian partner Five Eyes. So that's why they're taking action.
And India is right now a significant strategic partner to the United States.
Understand actually, so the India cannot be ignored. India, so that's why we are saying that it's not a 40 or 30 year back India, actually, so that the kind of perception they had, these days are gone. India has moved on. India is a global player now. India cannot be ruled out. And my biggest concern actually, because of the just people like a leader like a Justin Trudeau, and I wish actually Canadian people, Canadian community, they step up. And they step up and they ask the question to especially these kind of leaders, and they challenge them actually, because having the relationship between India and Canada is very important, because there's a huge community, a huge diaspora lives. They should not suffer because of the one political leader actually. So maybe their activity could be related to some kind of their political compulsion. But just because of the political compulsion of one party, they should not destroy.
All right, we'll try and get Mr. Chahal back. All right, Mr. Chahal, please finish what you were saying.
I'm sorry, say it again. Actually, there was the audio break.
Right, please finish what you were saying.
Yeah, so what I was saying actually, so especially they are saying actually, so they had information, they had a different lots of information, and what information is there actually? So why they are waiting actually? So why they are spreading the half information over there? Mr. Trudeau has information. Definitely they should disclose what they are waiting for actually. So that happened. That killing did not happen in India. That the Canadian killing happened inside the Canada actually. So the killer are there actually. So they should arrest the people, and they should they should ask their local law enforcement authority, and they should be, I think, their own. They have to look inward instead of before question somebody else. And also, like especially they are saying that the US provide them the intelligence, this and that, actually, because then you have to go back, actually, so that sometime they can make the mistake too, actually. So like what happened in the weapon of mass destruction, especially in the Middle East war, that at that time they were providing the same kind of intelligence to the other Five Eyes too, and so they come on board. They said it's destroy the humanity over there. 500,000 people get killed.
Fair enough.
So that's why that does not mean actually. So because one person said one nation said actually, so this is what happening actually. So if they have a proof, I think it's just this is the time actually. So they have to, Mr. Trudeau has to prove put the proof in the public domain. Otherwise, they have given the opportunity to spread the hate and the propaganda and they give the platform to all these
Right.
Khalistanis.
Mr. Chahal, now that the matter is quickly snowballing and is going beyond Canada, which was something very apparent on Saturday when we saw how Ambassador Doraiswamy's car was blocked, let me now come to another mastermind of the radicals, and that is Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. He's a terrorist wanted by India, based out of the United States, but is successfully dividing the Sikh community all over the globe, especially Canada, the UK and Australia, and rousing attacks against Indians. Is it also not a failure on the part of the International Crime Control, apart from, and I mean the Interpol as well, apart from governments of the countries allowing these radicals to breed?
Yep. That's what I'm like for so long. I'm raising the voice actually because this is what they did, Mr. Gurpatwant Pannu, and you can go back to my tweet actually profile, and so I don't delete anything, and you can see I have done hundreds and times actually I have done the tweets because these activity of these rascals is definitely is going to hurt the Sikh society. And I always go to even the Gurdwaras too, actually. So I'm speaking 2 days before, actually, I was in Washington, D.C. And today I'm in Chicago. Actually, yesterday I spoke in one of the prominent Gurdwara in Chicago. This is the exactly same message I was trying to deliver to the local community, that it is not the activity of the rascals, but inactivity of the good people which can destroy the society.
Right.
The 95% Sikh community or the Punjabi community cannot remain silent anymore. And we have to step up. We have to speak up. And we should not ask for anybody else. Actually, we should not ask for the government of India. Nobody, we don't need anybody's help. We have to step up. This is our own issue. We have to resolve and we have to counter all these good dancers actually, because SFJ, again, on record, I'm saying actually, so these are the violent people. They are the gunda people. Because the kind of gundagardi they have displayed over there in the Juba city, when one of the elected president of the Delhi Gurdwara Management Committee, Mr. Manjeet Singh GK, he was beaten up inside the Gurdwara, his turban was taken off. And they always challenge, actually, so they display, and they always say, actually, so I'll give you $100.
Right.
You do this.
Right.
So that's why, actually, because they don't have a sport in Punjab.
All right.
They have no sport at all. So that's why they have to pay to the other people to get anything negative done.
All right, Mr. Chahal, I laud your resilience, and of course, needless to say, we need more voices from the Sikh community like yours. Here's, in fact, saluting that voice in you. Many thanks to you, Mr. Sikhi Chahal, for joining.
One thing, last question, one of the last point I want to make it, please. Even Akali Dal has to be very responsible party, actually, because they have to, whatever the tweets I'm watching, monitoring over there, it's not very comfortable. I'm not very comfortable. They are very disturbing because the kind of message they are trying to deliver looks like they are in the bed with the Khalistani activists too, outside the India. And they have to play their role very responsibly, because we cannot afford to take the Punjab back to the old days, actually, back to the 70 or 80, actually, during
Absolutely.
the dark days.
Absolutely. I do hope that your voice reaches the highest and the right quarters.